Mic check. Check, 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 check. Should be working. I'm not getting very many bars. So this seems to be a little high here. And down. I don't know. My lighting is never good. Just a couple of things I want to address here, and I don't want to use the camcord because it requires putting it on the other computer and whatever. Converting it over and just more to look at, right? In terms of, well, one eye. I wanted to talk about being denied long-term disability designation in the province of British Columbia, Canada. Yeah. But before I get into it, it is March 18th of 2026. And I'm talking to myself again. So I can only assume that can hear. So maybe what we should do is see if it's recording. I like how being legally, well, I don't like. There's nothing liking. That is misleading. I think my situation, well, first we should do the date, right? March 18th, 2026, a little after 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm trying to get motivated for my day. Yeah, pick and choose my battles. All right. So I'm going to just put this on and see if okay, so it's probably looped there for a minute, or it's looping right now. So I guess I'll just talk to myself here. Well, somebody came in. No, that would be me. That's me looking at my own video. So basically what I got to say is, what's the title of the video? First of all, what is the title of the video? Already forgot. Getting on, blind as a bat. So basically what the title is saying is, now that I guess you could say Mr. Gill has been put to rest to one degree or another, to whom I don't myself feel that, like I said, he's just another ghost in the house for me, right? Only he's tall with an orange turban on, looking over my shoulder. I'm like, okay. Doing an Uncle John, patting me on the back saying, don't give up. Just keep chugging along. Hang in there. Yeah, I know you can do it. So I got Uncle John patting me on the back on this side, with Mr. Gill patting me back on my back on that side. Because I'm kind of feeling pretty defeated right now. In part and parcel of everything that's been going on in my life, with a lot of crap going on in there. Okay, so that one moved out. So wasn't my view. So somebody's looking for something else to listen to, but that's okay. So what I'm trying to say is, where I'm at on the timeline of humanity, right? I have a lot of you're on a timeline, you're in a tunnel, right? You have to walk through, continue walking, and I guess until you're dead, really. Like, when somebody dies, stops for them, but it doesn't stop for us that are still on that timeline or going through that tunnel, right? So, regardless of what's been going on, I have to keep that steady pace, right? I just got to keep going. I can't stop. I can't freeze. I can't turn back. I can't, what is that called? Like, revolt. I can't, like, rebel and just have refuse and be stubborn, and, right? I can't just lay down and give up, right? Curl up into a ball and don't move and stop eating and stop drinking and go on a hunger strike. That ain't gonna get me through, right? So getting on with things. Now, I don't expect things to get much better on a I don't know. I think that what the government did by denying me long-term disability puts thousands of people, perhaps even tens of thousands of people, at risk in the province of British Columbia, Canada, who have eye diseases, at risk to be discriminated against for refusal to be acknowledged as, quote unquote, long-term disabled, to where it interrupts how you function in life, which is very what are you doing? Which is very So basically what I'm trying to say is, because I can walk 4 blocks basically without crumbling and huffing and puffing and whatever it is that they expect people to do by the 4-block mark if you're quote unquote disabled. But I can walk 4 blocks, right? So that doesn't make me disabled. Because I can go up 5 steps, I think it was 5 steps on a stairwell on my own, that doesn't make me disabled either. Right? Because I can wash dishes, wipe down a counter, gather up a few things, because the one eye that I have, the one eye, I don't have 2, I just have 1. Allows me to see in shadows with minimal color tones that can easily blend together depending on the tone, especially if it's metallic, translucent, whites, and pale yellows and other colors. Pale, very pale. They'll blend in. It's because I don't have a sense of depth, like in depth, the depth of something, perception. And that's why I can't distinguish fine definition when it comes to similar colors or tones merging together with the offset of a blue that is lustrous, but your mind tells you it's blue only because you had eyesight at one point, so but you can't really see the blue because there's no luster to it, there's no vibrance, there's no so that's what creates the shadows. So basically what I'm saying is I walk through life, right, in shadows that's clouded over, basically with a fog. And because glaucoma is a progressive disease, it's not something that just comes and stops and stays the same. It progresses to go worse, never to get better. Never can they make it better. Never can they make you see better, heal to see better. The best that they can do with glaucoma is to slow down the deterioration of the octave nerves dying. And then once they die, whatever it is that you're seeing when you get into the late stage of glaucoma becomes more minute in terms of you can't go back. If you have 2 pieces of white paper with normal eyes with a fair amount of octave nerves, right? You don't have to have 100% and 100% of octave nerves with glaucoma in order to see 2 pieces of paper side by side and be able to differentiate the difference with that fine line, because you have that light spectrum within your octave nerves to see that. But when you start losing your octave nerves, especially to the point where you got 2% out of there's only 100 little nerves that's running like a string, 98 of them are dead. They're gone. They don't work. Only 2 left in this eye, which doesn't leave me much to see with, if anything. Never mind distinguish what I'm looking at if I can see a little bit of something over here, right? You know what I'm saying? In terms of light, because that's all I'm getting with a bunch of blurred over Mod Podge or whatever, right? Where this eye is the one that's been getting me through. So every 100 strings, right, I only got 13 left. So what is that? 82, 80, 88, 88, 80, 80, 87. I have 87 strings gone already, out the door, gone, with only 13 or so left in order for me to navigate. So that's how you lose your colors. You don't see colors like you used to. That's how you lose your depth, to be able to distinguish, like when you know you're on a sidewalk, you're walking on the sidewalk that has a curb onto the cement. You, in my situation, as you're walking and you're coming to the curb off the sidewalk to get onto the road, you cannot distinguish in depth the difference between the road and the sidewalk with that lip. Unless, of course, there's maybe something yellow painted along the side of the curb to trigger something in your eye to be able to notice a difference in terms of, oh, well, yeah, that means there's a lip there. It's not that you can see the lip. The yellow line tells you there's a lip there, and you better be careful when you step onto the road off of the curb of the sidewalk. So it's like, so that's what you're battling with, right? I'm just using that as an example for you to be able to put in your mind 2 pieces of white paper together and then try to see the difference between the two when you get to my point with late stage glaucoma, to which the province of British Columbia, Canada, doesn't see as a long-term disability. So I'm like, okay, because they denied my disability, right? That's what happened here. So I want to talk about it because they give me 20 days to I don't know, I guess appeal or something. Dispute it. I don't know what, right? 20 days, 20 business days is not a lot of days. Right. I couldn't even make an appointment to be able to go see, I don't think, my doctor, any doctor, whether it's my family doctor. And honestly, I've only seen him one time. I've talked to him on the phone a few times, but I don't think I'd get much response from that, in terms of, I don't think he could do any more than he's already done by filling out the form the way he's filled it out. And in regards to phoning up my eye specialist, you know, whatever they were looking at when they made this decision was in, I think, January of 2023. And so they based their decision on that. But in terms of eyesight, the eyesight has definitely deteriorated since that time, but I can still carry on. You know, I can still get on with what I need to do, because your mind adapts to the loss of eyesight through using your hands more, as it, you know, you use your brain to see for you when you can't just go and look at it, right? If you put something in front of me where you can see it clearly, to put something in a plastic bag, like a, you know, like a Ziploc bag. If you put something in a plastic bag, a Ziploc, doesn't, I'm at the point where it doesn't really matter what's in the bag, honestly. Just a Mod Podge of shit in a little plastic, you know, Ziploc bag, right? And you put that bag in front of me and ask me what's inside in terms of looking. Like, what do you see? Do you see dice? You know, Do you see sequins? Do you see buttons? Do you see little toys? Do you see ribbons? Do you see paper? Do you see little wood blocks? What do you see? I'd be looking at that bag and I'd be like, I don't see nothing. I just see a mosh posh of blurred in stuff. Before I could see, I'd have to stick my hand into it, feel around. Oh, wood blocks, I can tell. I remember those. I'd pull it out, try, yeah, okay. Oh, these feel like buttons. They're round, they got little holes in them, they're in a little bag. You right? I remember those buttons. Yeah, pull out, right? Oh, there, yeah, I was right. But to actually look at the bag and to see all those little things like I used to be able to do, and for whatever reason, whoever did whatever they did here, because I can walk, I can think, I can talk, I can still do, even though it's hard on me, it sometimes makes me shaky because, your brain is on overdrive to compensate for the lack of your eyesight, right? So you have to think faster and basically make yourself do whatever it is that you think maybe you don't want to do because you don't feel comfortable about it like you used to in order to see, right? So I'll just use, for example, cleaning something that's really, really grody, okay? In the old days when I could see and I came across something that was really grody, I had a better ability to do it without cross-contaminating things and spreading crap around. And, you're just more proficient because you can focus and you know what, right? Whereas if I'm looking at something and you're saying, look at that pile over, that's really grody, you need to go clean it up. And I'm like, well, what is it? Well, it's a pile of, we'll just say raccoon poo, right? It's a pile of raccoon poo. And, it's been blah. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, that's no problem. I used to do that all the time out in the yard because ever since I moved in, that's been the problem, right? So the problem hasn't gone away. So at some point, I expect to come into contact with that. The only difference is I can't see it like I used to. I'd have to okay. It'd be very hard. I'd have to rope it off. I'd have to take, if that was the case, and I'm right, in order for me to do it properly, right, without whatever hurting myself, contaminating myself, or whatever, I would have to first distinguish by marking off that area that I need to clean, knowing that it's raccoon poo, which means I have to be careful with it, including breathing in the dust if it's too dusty, right? Depending on where it is and if it dries and all this crap, right? In the old days, I just go in there and do what needed to be done. So anyway, and I'd have to take like a light colored, bright colored rope, something that can stand out against the environment and the circumference of the area that I need to clean. So first of all, I could just mark off the area so that when I'm cleaning, I use the whatever, I use the rope like a bright orange, or not a bright orange, but like a bright yellow. Yeah, well, even like a neon, almost glowing kind of color that it wouldn't glow in my eyes, but it would be a good contrast because I see in shadows with very limited color, right? It would be a good contrast against the backdrop of whatever that crap is on, whether it's behind over there or under there or wherever. So that's how I would start. And then after that, I'd have to be meticulous about doing it in increments, right? So that again, I don't cross contaminate or whatever. And yeah, and it would all be mind oriented compared to visually having me go through it, like, right? So that creates anxiety, right? Because that's just one scenario in a long day of many scenarios, right? It's like the government is catering to. How can you say that my situation with my eyes is not a physical ailment that is permanently disabling, because there is no prospect of it ever getting better or even completely halted to where it doesn't get worse to the point where I am completely blind, right? Because I don't have any other quote unquote physical ailments that interrupt. Basically, like, again, I can walk 4 blocks, I can go up and down flights of stairs, I can still somewhat read. It's getting harder and harder though, right? With, dollar store glasses or whatever. Um, I can still communicate, right? It's just I can't stop this. So I do what I can in a day until I say I can't do no more. And it's like before the government would acknowledge in this situation, which I feel is a form of discrimination, because if I had written down that I can't walk up 5 flights of stairs because of my hip, because my hip can go out on me. And then if it happens like that and my hip goes out on me because I'm doing this, doing that, and it catches up to me, don't ask me to go up those 5 flights of stairs, like 5 steps on that day. I'd have to rest. But I didn't put that down in my application because, I'm holding down the fort. I have to breathe myself through it. If I can't do it, I just won't do it until a day or two later when my hip relaxes and I can go carry on and blind as a bat and feel my way through it. You go through life feeling your way through it and see how you'd like to be treated in terms of, like if I was working in an office, under the situation that I am right now, I think like in terms of like what would I do in an office? If I was in a government office, what would be my job? Well, obviously I'd be sitting in front of a computer doing something, right? Regardless of what that something is, there's paperwork involved. Okay, I'm not going to be running around being a field social worker or working for the it has to be in an office. Okay, so at some point I'd be doing some kind of paperwork, whether through paper and passing this that around, or I'd be working on the computer, blind as a bat. Okay, with my, whether they're dollar store glasses or prescription glasses, because once you get onto the bandwagon that I'm on, oh, you little monkey, you did something. What happens is your prescriptions change all the time. I gotta go check on him. You up to something? No, it's not funny. Why are you awake? Why are you awake? What are you doing? Why don't you get down there? No. You're being naughty now. Now you're being naughty. Mr. Naughty. You're my little shadow ball. Oh my Lord, you're getting heavy though. Very, very, very heavy. You're gonna keep doing this now. I know you are. Yeah. Yeah. You want to be mischievous. I can tell. I can tell. Okay, stop it. You had everything you needed. Behave yourself. No, just behave yourself. No, stop it. No, you're being too cheeky. Go back to sleep. Oh my lord. What the hell is that? Oh my lord, there's something wet on the floor. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good. What is that? I see it glistening. Oh no. What is this? What the hell is that? Oh my lord. Can't leave that there. No. What is this? No, I'm just cleaning up something. Trying to. Maybe from this. Okay, I think I know what it is. Oh. Okay, I'm going to use this as a perfect example in a minute. Hold on. Yeah, I'm letting your ass outside. Come on. Okay, I'm almost done. I gotta go check on him one more time. He's a Houdini baby. Yeah. Don't even try it. Seriously, don't even try it. You're getting way too mischievous. It's not funny. Why are you awake? As your mother would say. Marty, you're supposed to be sleeping. As your mother would say. Oh my God. Stop it. Seriously, man. Go back to sleep. Oh God. Now what did I do with that thing? See, now I put down what I wanted to show you and I can't find it. This is where the brain becomes a key instrument in, I think this is it, yeah. This is where the brain becomes a key instrument in how you navigate through your life while going blinder and blinder. It's not about even going blind anymore. It's about going blinder and blinder. So I can be designated as legally blind, but not qualify for what is that called? Long-term disability. That doesn't make any sense. Because if I was working in an office prior to this, like, I'm working in an office, I have glaucoma, I'm a government employee. I use that as an example. I'm at the 15, 20 year mark of my, securing my pensions. You got to be employed with the government for 25 years. Where am I? You got to be employed with the government for 25 years, right? In order to be able to qualify for all the benefits when you retire. So I'm 15, 20 years into the game, long-term government employee with AI scratching at the door, wanting my job. Okay? I'm just saying. And I get an eye disease that happens to be glaucoma. And after all this time, I'm at the point where I'm working as, I'm working in this office as my eyes are, octave nerves are dying and the glaucoma is progressing and I'm aging but I can still, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're in one big fog and, and then the doctor's now trying to rescue your eye and you didn't realize that you lost all your eyesight in one eye until you went to go see the doctor to say, hey, what the hell is going on? Or it can just happen like that, people. You see, that's the thing. And that was why I went for that surgery, was to prevent me from going blind within 2 months with that pressure sitting up at 21 psi, right? Which is like serious, because I didn't really have a choice. It was either continue staying at 21 psi because the drops weren't working and go blind within a few months, considering all things said, with my late stage glaucoma, because that just would have been it. You can't go and see shadows with 2% and 1% of octave nerves. You're not going to see too many shadows, right? In order to be able to do anything outside of feel your way and hear your way and trust the people around you, right? So I'm working in the office. I've suffered from glaucoma for over 20 years. Yada yada. I'm at the point now where, I can wear my prescription glasses or dollar store glasses, whatever glasses I've got, because, you know, at some point they're going to be needing to be changed again because sooner or later, whatever's going on with those optic nerves will continue to deteriorate. The older you get, the harder you work, and that's just a fact. Okay, depending on your work, an eye strain doing paperwork in an office is work and it can affect your eyes over when you get to this point, as well as physical, picking up things, moving things around, you know, using a lot of exertion, like I've been since I had my eye surgery, to which, in my opinion, harmed me. And my doctors, the specialists, agreed that overworking, overdoing after surgery without what, or even, right? Yeah. Probably made it worse in regards to how I see now. Worse than what I seen before the surgery. I see worse now than before I had the surgery. Well, the doctor is trying to say, well, that's because before the surgery, whatever was going on that brought that pressure up to 21 was killing off those little 13 leftover freaking octave nerves. And, you know, so, you know, this is just the residue of what was already happening before the surgery. I can't stop it. I can only try and slow it down, but that's not a disability. That's not a physical injury. That is, I don't know what that is, people, when it regards to, you know, like I can only put myself in somebody else's shoes that could be facing what I'm facing. And if they're, you know, working for the government for like, what you call, for 20 years, and they had glaucoma for the 20 years, and then they get to the point where the glaucoma gets to them where they become quote unquote legally blind, can't drive. Clearly there's issues with no prospect of ever getting better, and can still function though, right? But, you know, so as a worker, they're putting in their application to stop working, but still get their benefits based on their disability. So the government they're not going to acknowledge their 20-year veteran worker that's been a faithful servant to the province as a government employee, to honor their pension plans and disability plans or whatever plans in the event of the worker can't follow through in the last, we'll just say 5 years of their contract before they're eligible for those benefits, because they went blind and they can see enough to be able to still hold down the fort, but not enough to be a functioning, visually sound individual that can be competent, right? With distinguishing depth in between the things that they have to look at, whether it's paper on paper with a bunch of words on it, or computers that can, you know, really put a lot of eye strain on the eye, you know, or maybe they're like you know, it could be somebody that's on the job site. I'm trying to think of what kind of government worker would be like more physical, doing something, right? In terms of like a man, you know, he's a man and he's been doing this, like a janitor. We'll just say a janitor, like Uncle John. Yeah. You know, he'd have been a janitor, you're into your 20-year mark, and, you know, and da-da-dee-da, and yeah, like, you know, like, and it gets to the point though, where it gets really, really hard and it becomes cumbersome. That's what happens. It becomes cumbersome. And you lose time because it takes oftentimes longer, right? Because again, I'll use what I just went through as an example. Okay, now I know what's in this bag. So my mind will trick me and tell me what my eyes are looking at, right? But if I was to look at it at this distance away from me, Now, you can see what's in there, right? It's all nice and clear and bright and defined for you if you've got good eyesight, right? And I've got my, everyday dollar store glasses, whatever. Doesn't matter if I get prescription. I got this prescription one. I can't because wear them like regularly because they put these prescription things at, I guess you could say, at distance, right? So, because what I do is it requires distance, but it also requires short vision. It's hard for me to, like, even at this distance, if I can't read the words on what's in the inside, I know what's inside the bag. You can see it's just at arm's length from me. Where's my head? There's my head. There's the bag. Okay. Yeah. That's arm's length. I can't tell you what's in that bag if I didn't know what was in it. Just I looking at it like this, right? I can't wear these glasses because your vision of going in and out. If I get those split glasses, they're terrible. I can't really function with those things. I've tried. So every now and then I'll use a dollar store glass, right? Other than that, I go bareback. I work with the way my eyes are, regardless of the light spectrum around me, because different light spectrums produces different vision. Obviously, the brighter the light, the harder it is on my eye, right? And outside, hazy, it's yeah. So in a situation like this, because I can see, I don't see the vibrant of it. It's very dull. I have to really think and focus. And so I can now distinguish a few words, right? So, and then of course, if I couldn't see, like this side, if I couldn't see, even with glasses on, right? And I'd stick my hand into the bag and I'd start pulling out and I'd look and I'd, as close as I need to look, if I can see it, depending on the colors again, or a lot of feeling. And if I can't figure it out, I can't figure it out. Right, that's where I'd have to ask somebody to tell me what I got in my hands. What am I looking at? And that's permanent. That's my daily grind, right? And for whatever strange reason, the government doesn't see that as a disability, and I find that to be a very precarious, I suppose, judgment on me to set the tone and the precedent for thousands of other people that are in my position who are either working and slowly losing their eyesight and trying not to panic and trying not to worry and trying not to feel vulnerable. And you know what I mean? Because you have to discipline your mind in order to not be afraid to face the future, right? No matter what that future is, because you're on that timeline and you haven't met the end of the timeline yet. And for some of us, it can be a very dark, scary tunnel. So, what I'm saying is they're denying me long-term disability because the only disability that is severe is my eyesight. And that's not enough in terms of quote unquote long-term, late stage, whatever you want to call it, glaucoma. Because I can navigate around shadows. I can still use my brain to distinguish what's inside the bag. Right? I can, yeah. So, but it makes me think of all those workers, wherever those workers are, or just people in general, that find themselves in my situation and they're being turned away and treated as if they don't have a disability. Yeah. Right? Because of whatever the reason is of the government outside of How can you say a bad back where you have to sit down in intervals between walking is more severe than what I go through with my eyesight? When my eyesight is just as physical as the legs not working. You acknowledge when legs don't work properly, that becomes a long-term disability. But if the eyes, right, stop working properly, unless, of course, they're completely black, it's almost like I'd have to be completely blind where I can't see a damn thing. And the eye surgeon takes out my eyes, literally takes them out, operates and takes out, I got nothing there. In order for me to qualify for long-term disability, I have to be eyeless with no eyeballs in order to prove that I have a physical, quote-unquote, disability. So is that going to be the next top off with the healthcare system when it comes to other people with their eye diseases, to the point where they're looking at shadows and nothing but shadows and having to rely on other senses in order to be able to navigate through life as they try and hold down the fort, as they're fighting battle, this war, that war, and another war, because you know it's coming, right? Right? Because, you know, the more vulnerable you become with your physical self, the more the creepers come out, and the predators and the vultures and just, you know, the hyenas and, you know, people that are whatever, because they go for the weak, right? So the government just put me in a weaker position by denying me access to long-term disability, as they expect me to act like I'm normal, because they're basically saying that I'm normal. I'm like everybody else. I can see like everybody else, right? Which I can't. And if they're not going to acknowledge my disability, then I feel sorry for all those workers out there, whether it's within private companies that go blind while working, whatever. It could be a construction dude working at the site there with that, you know, like a trades union, right? Right? You know, it could be anybody really. And, you know, they're entitled to disability pensions and those type of things if they, you know, develop those symptoms as they put in their 20, 25 years of employment, or even if they're not employed and they're like me, right? So they want me to appeal it or dispute it or something, but I can't. I got 20 business days. That's not a lot of days. I couldn't even book an appointment with my family doctor to discuss it with him in that time frame, because it's too late in the game when it comes to booking appointments at this point, because they've got all these clinics on lockdown. Yeah, they really do. And in regards to my eye specialist, I mean, whatever they're looking at was from January of 2023. I don't know if that was before I had that Roto-Rooter or after I had that Roto-Rooter. All I know is I'm on a tight rope, where if I didn't have that last Frankenstein freaking surgery, I would have probably went blind, and I could very well be where the government would want me right now in terms of to be able to qualify for that long term. In other words, I'd be seeing nothing. Like my doctor gave me no alternative. You will see nothing if you don't have this surgery. You keep this eye pressure at 21, like, you know, it's just within 2-3 months. That's it. It's game over. It's going to go blink out on you like this one's has already blinked out on you. So I did the Frankenstein surgery, and what did it get me? A freaking whip on my back, and a whole bunch of threats, right? And what did I do? I got on with it, you know, blind as a bat. I did what I was supposed to do. I got downstairs into the basement, started cleaning up stupid mouse poo and everything else I've been doing. And yeah, it made my eye worse. It's not healing as well as it should be. And it quite could very well have been damaged through that exertion of, with those whips on my back to do this, that, right? As I'm just whatever. So what you work in shadows, right? You remind yourself that there is no depth to what you look at that much anymore. It's like a flat plane with no ridges oftentimes. So you have to walk with care. You need to be aware that any corner you could hurt yourself. At any corner, you could hurt yourself. At any corner, you don't know who and what you're going to come into contact with. So before you reach out too quickly and just do, you got to stop and you got to think about freaking, I'm getting mad, man, because this is not fair. This is not fair. This is the third time I have put my application in for long-term disability, and they've denied it on the fact that I can freaking walk. Oh, I'm sorry, I can talk. Oh, yeah, my mind still thinks in order. Well, I suppose it all depends on who you're talking to. Other people might try and disagree with that. Yeah, you little monkey, you put your butt back on that floor. Do you see how he is? Oh yeah, I know what was leaking. It was these diaper wipes. I have to put them. I'm gonna have to put them in a bag. They leaked out. Here's a smelly belly sticking up the living room. No, you gotta stop doing this, Amari. This is not a game. It's really not a game. You know, you think it's a game, but it's not a game. Oh my lord. Oh, lordy, stop it. Okay, you're being way too mischievous. Okay? Stop it. Stop being a monkey. Stay here. It's enough. You're heavy. Stop it. Anyway. So as for my specialist, I'll just leave a message and I don't know. Maybe he can just update that from January of 2023. But I'm pretty sure I provided the whatever it was. They put you to these machines, which make my eyes worse after the fact. Always, doesn't matter what they do. Okay, somebody said something. Tammy. Oh, Tammy. I finally got to catch your live while I'm not working. Okay. Oh. Well, I'm glad you're here, Tammy. Amari's keeping me running back and forth. Do you see what he does? Oh, yeah. He fast at it, too. He waits for you to leave. Yeah, if he wants to go, he's off and running. So I have to work in my shadows, take out books and do this and make just, I don't know, just try and keep up with those milestones. Yeah. And even then, he'd find a way to, busy boy. I can see that blurry. The reason I know what you wrote is because, again, it's not what my eyes see as it what my eye is, as it's what my brain interprets to compensate for lack of eyesight. So, not that I can see the word busy boy nice and bright and clear versus all blurry, and then I just try and put together the assumption of what you had to say, and now you wrote something more. So I think, yep. Look at it. I think he went back down. Oh my God, I can't keep picking him up. I don't know how to pencil him in when he gets into these moods, right? I just don't. So that's why we're going to do the few things that we're going to try and do in the living room. And I don't know if that's going to make much of a difference when it comes to him wanting to explore and be mischief, explore his environment and be mischief, right? Because he does this, he moves, right? That's how he moves, eh? So, and he's getting strong. Yeah, he's getting strong. Yeah. So anyway, I think it's a really dangerous precedence that the government is setting or using as an example to deal with people like me who definitely have permanent disabilities that affect our quality of life, that make everything harder, creates anxiety, right? And depression, and we shouldn't have to be cornered into a position where we have to submit to giving in to those, I guess, symptoms to the point where we shut down, right? So that we can prove to the government, I suppose, that we're disabled. I shouldn't have to shut down, stop doing what I need to do, no matter how hard it is for me to do it, until I can't do it no more, in order to be able to prove to my government that I qualify to be acknowledged as disabled. If people with Down syndrome have Down syndrome, right, where they're able to work in those, what are they called? Recycling centers for cities, because they have those employees in there because they're easy to manage and they're quite happy to doing the things that they're doing because it's repetitive and there's no pressure around it. And for those with Down syndrome that are functional but have disabilities and need assistance a little here and a little there, but clearly they can see very well and can distinguish a milk carton from a piece of paper as they're separating that recycling stuff as it's coming in to the assembly line as the city is picking it up throughout the freaking district. If they qualify as having disabilities, because they're moving, they're walking, they're working. Doesn't have to be somebody in a freaking office. Doesn't have to be a government worker. But they now are starting to go. But you see, even if the one with the Down syndrome, who already is being employed through some special program to keep people with Down syndrome busy and happy and productive at an affordable rate when it comes to the employer. But that Down syndrome person now is starting to go blind because they are one of the unlucky ones like me who have glaucoma. And even though they've been doing and working in the recycling freaking center for the last 22 years, as a designated disabled person, they're still whatever functional to one degree or another. But now they're like practically blind, if not blind, but they can still distinguish between a milk carton and a piece of paper because their brain compensates and says, well, the milk carton is bigger. Clearly it feels different. That is paper, is very thin, and right, you know what I mean? It's not that hard to be practically blind to tell the difference between a milk carton and a piece of freaking paper on the job. But they don't have to worry about putting in a what is that called? An application in for disability now that they're going blind with glaucoma because they've already been designated that a long time ago. So what is the difference? If they're functional, they can do the things they need to do. Right? Why did they get special treatment? Because of the word Down syndrome? I'm trying to, oh my Lord, I gotta go see. What are you doing? You got something. No. Why are you doing this? All right. Where'd you get that from? No. How did you even find that? And what the hell are you doing here? Now you're ripping off your diaper. Oh my God, Amari, stop. You're making it hard for Nana. Where did you find those? It's not funny. Nothing funny about it. Oh my Lord. Yeah. Right. You're up to no good. My Lord. My Lord. Well, where's that bag? See, Nana already lost that bag. Can't have those. Stop ripping off your diaper, man. Okay? Why are you making it hard on me? Stop it. Andre, too. He didn't put that on right. Smarten up. Great. Behave yourself. I don't know where your talking bear is. No, you need to smarten up. I mean it. And where the hell is the pillow now? What'd you do? Jesus Christ, Amari. No! You throw pillows around. Stop it. Here. Hey, I don't think there's anything left here. Okay, smarten up. Oh, my Lord. Here. Behave yourself. He's just being mischievous. He grabbed this. Got his little hands in there. Well, one hand. He started scattering these things around. He likes to do that if he thinks he can get away with it. So yeah, how is it that people with Down syndrome who are employable can be designated with long-term disability? Well, people like me who can't. If they can walk, they can communicate, they can sort out whatever it is that they're sorting out or whatever it is that they do, but they have a disability that slows them down, keeps them limited within their quote-unquote job description, right? No shame to their game, right? Anyway, so that's where I'm at with that crap. So I have a choice. I will phone my eye specialist. I don't think there's anything he can really do about it outside of to give an update of where we're at with, the unpredictability around it, because it's unpredictable, right? When I went to go see him, the pressure was at what was it at? When they do different kinds, right? Put, what they come with the little machine, they do it with the right, came in at 19 versus 21, and then the eye specialist come, he put the machine right to your eye, make you look that way, that way, that way, straight with this, right in your eye. And he said it dropped down to, I don't know what it was, but it was a little lower than 19. And then he tried to play it off again, like, oh, well, it's like a little more, this machine is a little more accurate than what's on there. In other words, we're within the quote unquote safe margin of eye pressure to not have to worry about you going blind in 2 months from now. Right? Do I have to worry about going blind in 2 months for the rest of my life, day by day by day, as I'm on that timeline, which puts me in a freaking tunnel with a whole bunch of fucking predators in there that want to take me out before I get to the other side? Like, come on. Right? It's just stupid. It's stupid. Like, I don't feel sorry for myself, people. Really, I don't, because I'm okay. I'm down for the fight. You know that, one way or another. I'm going down swinging. Okay. But I feel really sorry for all those people in my province, because this decision is being made by one individual. It could be freaking AI for all we know. Seriously. What are you doing now? Now you got me nervous. You're just way too rambunctious. Yeah. No, you stop bouncing around. No. No. No, no, no. Yeah. Come on. I don't want you getting into trouble in here. Lay down. Go back to sleep. You're fine. Just for a little while. Yeah, welcome to my world. It's a good thing I see shadows. I wouldn't get through. Anyway, I do got some news before I get back on that bandwagon of whatever I was talking about. I spoke to Amari's neurologist who did the EEG, right? If you're interested in knowing. What he said, it was worth doing it under the circumstances of how it turned out. In regards to the twitching, because through that process with the EEG, with Amari being extremely agitated, angry, upset, and annoyed as they were doing the EEG, and his brain was sparking off here and sparking off there, right? There were 2 instances within that EEG where the doctor read and, determined that the twitching is not brain related as it is muscle, maybe. Yeah. So he's ruled out the brain bringing that on. And that's what I was thinking too. But of course, I'm not a doctor, so I couldn't diagnose that myself. I had to wait to see what this guy said. But with the EEG, he noticed he said 2 things. I don't know if he's like 100% sure in terms of, just because I seen 2 things in a 1-hour EEG where Amari was extremely upset, that proves that the twitching has to do with muscle tone versus what's going on in the brain. But based on his experience, because, he's really well educated and takes time to analyze, I think, in my opinion, what he does and what he's looking at and that kind of stuff. He said there was 2 instances that remove that possibility of it being something to do with the brain under a different label of a different type of seizure. So, okay. Just fully watched 2 commercials. Oh my God, can't you kick them out? Just skip them out. Message redacted. Oh, I didn't see that. I don't know what you wrote there. Well, yeah, I watch my own videos too, and they can get annoying. I don't put anything special. Like, I just, if it, like the last, like the video with Mr. Gill's funeral wasn't monetized because when I got back, everybody asking me, what are you doing? Why you look like the way you look? Because I was, dressed up, right? I said, well, I'm going to a funeral. My landlord died, and yada yada. And when I came back, I went next door and I did that little video with everybody's feet, because, right? Asking me, well, what happened? Well, my landlord died, and I went to a funeral, and I just want to chill for a minute and, not feel insecure, people. Not feel insecure for a moment or two. So I did that little video with them, with their feet and with the music that got a copyright strike, right? 2 songs. That video is blocked in Russia and Belarus. Yeah, I notice anytime I do a video with African music on it, right? The few times that I've done it with the African music, it gets blocked in Russia and Belarus. Why it gets blocked, I don't know. And then, of course, it gets copyrighted because, the people that want, whatever. That's okay. So what I'm saying is, I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't even know what I'm saying. Yeah, what I'm saying is, for this type of video, it wouldn't get blocked. It wouldn't get copyrighted unless, of course, I was playing some kind of music where there was copyright. And they're going to do one of 2 things. They're either going to let you keep playing your video with copyrighted music where it will either, they have different levels of how they deal with that issue when it comes to monetization or no monetization or partial monetization, to which personally I don't really care. What I care about is when they completely remove my video and make it where people can't see my video because of maybe 30 seconds or a minute of a song that's imported into that video, like Fly Like an Eagle, for example. If I was to play the song Fly Like an Eagle by the Eagles, I'd get copyrighted, and they'd probably either mute my video, completely mute the whole video, or they would take down my video, because I have a video like that up. It was copyrighted in 2009. I got it disputed. It got reinstated. It was up online for years. And then, I don't know, got copyrighted again, right? And then they muted the bloody thing. And then they turn around and they made it where nobody can see it. I can see it within my playlist, all because of one song with a short little clip in it. Yeah. So you never know, right? So anyway, one of mine got blocked with Stevie Nicks' song. I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it either. Like, it's not fair. So either or, I don't know. Like, okay, let's finish up with Amari. So with Amari, the twitching tends to be more muscle related. Okay. And, being constipated can, create issues and, all right. So that's good. So something good came out of that EEG. We are going to end up booking another MRI just for the sake of, right? I asked him like to be like more specific and like think about not just right. It's on the table. He said he put the referral in at the children's hospital, and then we'll discuss it when that time comes, right? We're not sure if Amari's medication is being absorbed properly, and maybe that's why his seizures have increased, because the last time he had a seizure, which was about a week ago or so, I was at the hospital. They did a blood test on him. They said it came back good. They said they were going to test to see if his medicine was actually in his system. And then when I spoke to the neurologist, he said, I reminded him so he looked and he said, apparently no, there was no medication in Amari's system. Now, why is that? So, is it Andre giving the medication where it's maybe drooling out too much or something? Or is it that, like give him his medication and then maybe Andre give him a Pediasure with either without or with a laxative, because Pediasure can be very gumming. Oh, you little monkey. Are you moving around again? Oh, I got to check on him, people. When he's active like this, I don't take too many chances with him. No. What are you up to now? You got quiet. Where are you? What did you do? Oh my God, you're playing possum on me now. Now you're playing possum. Stop it. Now he's playing possum on me. I don't like it when he plays possum on me. He's flipped himself on the other side of the couch, but he's still kind of there. So hopefully he'll calm down and go back to sleep for a while. Otherwise, he was just laying there limp like a rag doll playing possum on me. So I went to go listen. Like, come on, Mario. What, 1 minute you're moving around, next minute you're not. Like, and then he goes, he starts making his funny noises. Oh my Lord. So we have to figure out whether he's absorbing this or not. So got to get a little more creative with just, I don't know. So anyway, okay. So when it comes back to not being approved with a long-term disability, I don't know. Like, it doesn't seem fair. It seems like they're very discriminatory just because you can't see it physically, right? In terms of what I see and how I have to adjust my life around it and what prospects I have, which at this point I could go blind in 2 months. That's the daily rigmarole. Whatever the doctor did with that surgery, well, this stuff with those tubes freezing my skull and all that crap, I don't think it was successful. I don't. And I suppose if it is ending up to be successful where it can extend the life of my eye, because I only got one eye, not two, just one. So if you have one eye in the province of British Columbia, Canada, where you can only see 13% of the light spectrum and anything around it, the government considers you to be fully functioning, where you are an able-bodied individual that has absolutely no handicap. Doesn't sound reasonable to me. Simply because you make yourself go through that tunnel on that timeline. Yeah. They want you, this is what I mean. They want you to curl up and just become, I don't know. Like, I don't know. So anyway, So I will see if my eye specialist can give, well, no, because he doesn't even really know himself the end result of what he attempted to do. And that's not even the issue. The issue is where I'm at. But, it's like anything that I seem to come into contact for the most part. You're not dealing with I wouldn't be surprised. That thing was reviewed from a bot or AI or whatever you call those things. A database. Well, that's about it. I got 20 business days to try and deal with this issue, to which I don't think I can do anything about it in terms of I don't know. What would you do? And I do. If they're going to do this to me, they're going to do it to everybody else, and they've been doing it to everybody else. Or they're just doing it to me because my file is flagged. Yeah. To that gang stalking network. You know what I mean? Which would be understandable. I could see that happening. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who's there? Are you still there, Tammy? Because I'm crashing here. Amari's using up what little energy I have, going back and forth, back and forth. Yeah. But when he doesn't want to sleep, he won't sleep. Now he dropped his toy, so that's his excuse to go get it. Right? That's his excuse to go get it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, there's more than I wanted to say, but I don't know. I just don't want to dwell on negative crap.